Greetings, traveler, and welcome to my humble channel, Bunsquire. I am your wizard host, Bo, and today I shall take you on a journey creating my 2026 Meet the Artist sheet, yapping about me, my art, and my goals for 2026. Happy to have you here with me on this lovely, nondescript day or night. I've done silly Meet the Artist posts for the past 2 years, which I found is a really fun way to look at my developing art style as time goes on. I do try and follow a similar format where I give myself stats like a Dungeons & Dragons character that levels up with each new year, and share some likes and dislikes, along with some basic info like my name and pronouns, which, by the way, I do use they/them pronouns. This year, I'm also adding a lovely new section to share my goals, partially to hold myself accountable, and partially to manifest it into happening by speaking it into the universe. Looking at my previous year's Meet the Artist posts, I tried to figure out ways to improve on it, and that starts with making a sketch. I will be sketching in Procreate, which I recommend, great fun time, and if you're curious, I am using the 6B pencil, which is a default brush in Procreate, to sketch everything. I do this before I try to make any finished piece, especially 3D model, but I don't always do it. I'm trying to make that part of my practice this year. It really does help organize all of the brain goo and get all of my worms in a row so I can focus on making the final piece without zoning out halfway through modeling stuff. Honestly, this happens more than I'd like to admit, but with sketches, that really does make it so I know what I'm doing the whole time and don't have to sit there being like, I wonder what I should be doing next. I'm also trying to channel some wacky pomo aesthetics in my art by adding a bunch of shapes plus my worm familiar. If you're not familiar with wacky pomo aesthetic, highly recommend you look it up. It is really, to its name, wacky. Now for my worm familiar, I don't know where this worm came from, but they've somehow managed to make it into my previous Meet the Artist posts every time. So I'm not going to upset whatever this worm being is by not including them this year, but I feel like it's important to recognize the beauty that is having a worm familiar around you. Now it's the super fun time to move on to 3D modeling in Blender, and I only say that with slight bit of sarcasm sprinkled in. I pushed myself to finally learn Blender towards the end of 2025, and it has been a journey. Surprisingly, it isn't as bad as one would think, but I am still by no means an expert and have barely scratched the surface on what you can even do in Blender. So if you see me messing up or doing something probably the wrong way, just close your eyes and maybe look the other way for a second. But part of, again, improving on that skill is by using that skill. So here we are, using Blender consistently and trying to make more art actively in it, and inevitably, I'll have to learn something. I mean, I'll probably learn the right way eventually. It's just a couple of YouTube tutorial wormholes to go through, which is fun, but it takes time. I'll get there, hopefully. Anywho's, I'm starting off by modeling myself since character design is fun. Big shocker, I know, but it's true, which, hey, big shout out to the mirror tool for making said character modeling easier. Highly recommend watching Blender for Beginners, Easy Froggy by Mara on YouTube. 'Twas the first video I watched for learning Blender and really helped introduce me to the program and the delights of using the mirror tool when modeling a character or just a figure. I'm also playing around with the curve tool for the first time after watching one video on it. So yeah, I'm basically like a pro. Just ignore the struggling and potential misuse of said tool. Every real pro struggles at times, I swear. But while I work my magic and you get to enjoy my 3D modeling, I figure what a lovely time for us to have a little yap session since it's my first actual speaking video. I've been very scared to do something like this because I'm just a wee goblin and the internet could be very scary. Yet, it's 2026 and I fear I simply must take on this challenge despite my anxieties. If I want to be a fool on the internet, then so be it. Perhaps it is my destiny. But truthfully, it does get tiring saying to myself over and over again the things I want to do yet never do, which is why I want to start by talking about my goals so that you too might feel more confident about what you want to achieve in 2026. First goal, and one of the more important ones, I actually want to commit to doing this YouTube thing and making consistent videos to share my art. So many amazing artists I admire are able to have fun and create awesome communities here on YouTube that really make me want to try it myself. Honestly, I've discovered so many cool art and inspiration this way by simply scrolling through the endless pit of YouTube. I've only really shared my art on Instagram, which, hey, small shameless plug, go follow me on Instagram at Bunsquire, but it can be really hard to feel seen there, especially when it feels like the app suspiciously is actively plotting your downfall. I swear, it's totally not doing that, but anyways, I feel it's just also not the best place for people to actually get to know you, the artist behind the art, and to share information about the drawings that you make. I don't know what a short form content is, and I am not going to dance on main just to get some views. So, for that, I send myself here into the YouTube void in hopes that I can gather my own people and share my delightful little insights and lore of my art. At minimum, I want to post once a month, and would love to get that up to twice a month if I can, but if we're being honest, that depends on my energy and willingness to figure out how the heck I'm editing these videos. I downloaded Audacity and I'm really hoping for the best with this voiceover, and it's up to Adobe if it really wants to let me edit my video. Building on creating a community and having a more open place to share my art, I also want to be able to promote myself. I do have an Etsy shop and I love making new stickers and prints, but I am bad at actually speaking up and sharing new stuff and new products that I make. I don't know how other people have learned to advertise themselves in fun ways, but it's always intimidated me. And I have watched videos, but it just loses me. It gets too technical and then overwhelming, and I end up getting distracted and watching something else. Hopefully, by having another platform to just share my art, I can also sneak in my little silly sticker designs, which goes into my next goal, which is trying to make a total of 300 Etsy sales. Something that I am already almost halfway through because I'm counting the sales that I made last year. I wanted something that could be feasible and achievable this year, but not something that's too crazy, because delusionally, I would love 500 sales. But as mentioned, I'm not a salesperson, and I don't want to set myself up to hope for something that's really grand and then get sad and disappointed if it doesn't happen. And then that just makes me more depressed and ends up making me not do any art for a hot minute. Here's to the year that hopefully I can lock in and try to be more consistent with shop updates and just being more confident in myself and not having to rely on being recognized for others. This ultimately is just for fun and a way to find other people, share my silliness, and just be able to yap on the internet, as everyone would probably be starting to do this 2026. My last art-related goal is mostly just a way to encourage myself to keep learning more Blender and its many talents, shall we say, working my way all the way up to animating something. The reason why I was able to force myself to even learn it last year was I made it a goal, one of the months, to watch and follow through 5 Blender tutorials. I was able to sit down and do it very slowly, but I followed 5 tutorials. And giving myself a smaller goal, but something that's loose and tangible, actually pushed me to learn a program that I've always been intimidated by. So, to keep that up, I want to set an overarching goal for 2026 to just animate something. Because I know I still have so much to learn about just the modeling process that getting to the animating is going to take a while. So it'll probably take a year to animate something. And I keep saying something. I want to be loose with this so I don't get overwhelmed. But I have animated in a 3D program before, Maya, if you're curious. And it would be fun to try it again, now with better modeling knowledge in my pocket. So long as I could just animate something, it can be simple. There is no time requirement, just something completely. I will count it as a goal complete. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be dropping an entire movie or show, but hey. If it's a little looping video of some sort of wizard dancing, I'm gonna count that, because it's difficult to be animating in Blender. Beyond that, I do have a couple other goals for 2026 that aren't exactly art related, but I do want to share them because I just like yapping and sharing my goals, and like I said before, speaking them out into the universe shall hopefully manifest them into doing them, / holding me accountable in recorded video. Starting off, I want to read 26 published books, since I do enjoy a good romance book. I'm specifying the published books part because, if I'm being honest and vulnerable on the internet, I do mostly read fan fiction and get consumed in that, more so than giving published books a chance. And there's a lot of fun published books with amazing stories, and I want to reignite that passion. I did manage to meet last year's goal of 2025, which, if you sense the pattern, I'm only trying to read the amount of books that the year technically is, the last 2 digits of said year. Again, I do not want to push myself to do something that is too hard. Could I read more books than that? Totally. I might even do that. But to satisfy the goal, I only have to read 26. And that is small but achievable, so I can say I did a goal and be fun and have fun with that. Next, I want to finish 3 games on my Steam library because I'm a sucker. I will admit that I keep buying games that go on sale. I'm a sucker for a good deal, and if a sale happens, then the game is like 50% plus off. Yeah, I'm going to spend my money and buy it. Of course, this is a bad habit. You shouldn't buy things that you aren't going to use immediately. And so I do have a bit of a backlog for games that I need to finish. And do note, when I say finish, I specifically mean finishing the main storyline. I'm not trying to 100% any games. That's just bound to burn me out and really just push me away from playing games, because I feel like gaming is preferable to scrolling on my phone, which, side, I guess, goal, be on my phone less, because that phone do be the problem, I suppose. If you're curious for what games I'm going to try and attempt to play, I do want to finish my playthrough of Spiritfarer, which I think I'm about 43% of the way through. And then for new games, I got Bear and Breakfast and Whisper of the House and Snacko. All that are kind of life sim, casual, cozy, all the buzzword games that I really am interested and wanted. And now that I have it in my library, there's really no excuse to just lay on the couch and do nothing. I really could just get up and play a game and have fun. So that's what we're going to try and do. Finally, this is the year I'm also determined to have a thriving herb and veggie garden in real life, a la Stardew Valley. Last year, I didn't get the chance to do that because I just moved into my house, so there was mostly focus on fixing up my house and getting all set up, and not time to do the necessary research to figure out what can I plant, when do I plant it, where do I plant it, how do I plant it. Really just a bunch of stuff that I didn't end up having the time to, but now perhaps this is the year that Stardew Valley in real life happens to me. I shall harvest the yummy earth food. I have several packets of seeds ready to be planted, and hopefully that goes successfully. There is one cursed planter I own where everything I've tried to start in it has suspiciously died. But hopefully, by making new planters, that won't happen, and we can just put the cursed planter off to the side. Going back to my Meet the Artist model and sketch, whatever, I also have listed some of my likes and dislikes on it, so you may get to know me a little bit more at a glance. I feel like most of them are self-explanatory, but I feel one of them deserves a little bit more explaining. The mouse invasion. Yes, you heard that correct. For I've been attacked by these tiny creatures, crawling through my home and plotting their evil schemes. Really, it's just cold these winter months, and I live in the mountains like a true little hermit wizard. So the inside of my house is prime mice real estate to stay warm, which, is great for them, but not for me. My main gripe is somehow a mouse always manages to crawl onto me. Again, I have no beef with mice, but crawling on me? No, I didn't consent to that, quite frankly. That is really rude and spooks me every time. I'm not ashamed to say that I will scream if I feel the tiny scratching of a mouse paw on me. And at this point, it's happened more than once, which is more than enough times to feel that I specifically am targeted. So now they get to be forever shamed on my 2026 Meet the Artist post. It's what they deserve. But going back to my likes, I'm a simple little lad. I like reading. I like my Hobonichi, which is a silly little planner. I like doing a daily plan. And I will eat a large bucket of popcorn as I please while I watch a movie in the movie theaters. Again, I deserve it. Thank you. For dislikes, there is the mouse invasion, as previously mentioned. Then there is cilantro. Now, no judge to if you like cilantro. I just have the fun cilantro gene that makes cilantro taste like soap and bad and yucky in my mouth. So it's just never an enjoyable experience, and I really hate when restaurants don't list it as an ingredient on their menu for whatever I'm ordering, and then it comes to me and there's cilantro, and I'm like, I wish I could have said no, because now I'm sitting there individually picking out pieces of cilantro, which sucks. And then the last one was hard to come up with because it's easier to think of everything I like, but when I think of things I dislike, a lot of them I feel people can relate to. So I just went simple and did hot weather because, yes, if it is too hot out, I get cranky and I become evil. I become a little bit evil the minute sweat starts to drip down my back. Sue me. Actually don't, but hot weather, not a fun experience. But back to some more art related things, I do want to mention that I'm using Blender Kit add-on for my materials in Blender, since I am going to be using it, / am currently using it in this video. I highly recommend it as an add-on. It is free, and I am quite literally not sponsored to say this. This is my first speaking YouTube video. In no way could I have been sponsored to say this. It is just really helpful since I'm still very much confused with materials and adding them, and I'm also lazy and don't want to draw everything that I need to have a material. So this is also being like, hey, please excuse the confusing back and forth of playing around with materials that you might be seeing in the video. I'll figure it out, maybe, hopefully, but I just wanted to share in case you were curious to where all these materials were coming from. But, as mentioned, I'm going to be finishing the piece by taking it back into Procreate so I can adjust some of the colors and add some fun little doodle and details and effects back on to the piece, since doing things in Blender is hard. It is rewarding to do things in Blender and to learn new things, but it also hard. And Procreate makes things easier. It is a familiar ground that I can use and just jazz up my piece a bit. Now, with all that said and done, huzzah! Here is the final image blessing you on this beautiful screen. I hope you enjoyed watching me model this and yap at you about myself. I'm sorry if I rambled or stuttered or spoke over. I really don't know what I'm doing, and I'm trying my best to record myself. I have a script, but also when I started to read the script, I would just read through it too fast and have like 10 minutes of talking, which does not match the amount of video that I have. I really appreciate you sticking around and hopefully getting this far, and look forward to making more videos throughout the rest of the year. Honestly, if you have any questions or want to chat or share a fact or share a funny thing, feel free to leave a comment. In fact, I will be honest and tell you that I'm a nosy person, and I will love to hear from y'all what your 2026 goals are. Does not have to be art related for clarification. I just think it's fun to talk about your goals with people, and perhaps with all of us sharing it, we can encourage each other to try and work towards them, have that fun support, create that good community, enchant whatever. Yes. As a wizard, I will send you all my good wishes, and into just completing these goals and going into 2026. It will be a happy year and whimsical year. We will make it so. You do not have to be sad or scared or anxious. This year will be good because I am saying so, and it has to be because that is how manifestation works, I think. But I do hope to yap with you again, and if you're enchanted by my art and want to find me elsewhere, you can find me on Instagram and at my Etsy shop under Bunsquire as well. For now, I'll see ya!